great day it is. Another day with the Crotchety Old Men podcast. Hello, I'm Gary Smith. I'm one of the co hosts here with the Crotchety Old Men podcast. Joining me in the studio today, as always, my main man, George Cromley. Top of the day to you, George.
Back at you, Smith. How you doing today?
Man, I'm feeling exceedingly well today. A lot of excitement going on and a lot of great things going on with me personally and business wise. And with our guest that we have today, I'm really excited about who we have in the studio with us. So, yeah, it's a lot of, you know what? And George, I'm going to take a pause right now to put my own little plug in. If you haven't heard yet, I got a new book out. All right. It's just
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's called The 5 Keys to Creating Passive Income with Commercial Real Estate. So
All right.
everybody out to go out there and rush out and buy your copy, and I'll autograph it for you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You got that sound like a podcast too. We got to go do a podcast to talk about your book.
Absolutely.
What inspired you to do it?
Well, George is the same platform that inspired us to create the Crotchety Old Men podcast. I'm always looking for ways where I can empower, equip, and enable our people to succeed in areas where it said it couldn't be done. And so, as a living testimony to that, I want to make sure that people are aware that, you can do anything that you put your mind and your heart to. So, with that being said, and understand who we have in the studio today as a man that pretty much exemplifies everything that I just said. All right. I'm just going to get on right into it, George, if that's all right with you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Anytime we got a special guest, we don't want to leave them waiting.
Absolutely. Look here, it gives me great pleasure. Mr. William A. Johnson. If I were to read all the initials and things behind his name, you probably wouldn't understand what they mean anyway. But let me give you a little snippet about what we're in store for today. Mr. Johnson is a certified general appraiser. He's a certified machinery and equipment appraiser. He's an expert equipment certified appraiser. This man knows the appraisal business. All right. He's an independent fee-based appraiser, licensed and certified not only in Michigan, but in the state of Nevada. Mr. Johnson has an extensive, when I say extensive, George, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, extensive experience in real estate statistics, analysts, you name it. I mean, this guy has even been awarded a certification of collateral valuation specialist. He's evaluated and analyzed and appraised everything from churches to small income properties, large income properties, real estate, commercial real estate, residential. The man is well educated as well, having nearly completed an advanced management MBA from Michigan State, Lawrence Technology University. Heck, his resume is 15 pages long, y'all. Let me not say anything else, but introduce our guest in the studio today, Mr. William Johnson. Yes.
Hey, I'm wondering who this guy is.
Man, I'm so proud and pleased and just humbled, sir, to have you on our podcast today. With your permission, you gave us permission to call you Bill. And so, but certainly it's just a pleasure to have you on, and welcome to the Crotchety Old Men podcast.
Well, I hope that some of the things I might have to say might have an impact and influence on the people that are on your show. And main thing is just to get the information out of what you can do as a commercial appraiser. It's a wide background and experience, and you have to have a diverse background in order to do it in the first place. So it's a lot of things, math, science, computers, everything.
Well, welcome to the show, Bill. And
I guess what do you want me to start?
Well, I thought, after looking at your resume, I thought a great place to start was, back in 1988. I was looking at your resume, and it looked like prior to that, you were in the auto industry, as most Detroiters. So, first question for me is, what led you to become an appraiser?
Wow. I think I sort of fell into it by accident. I guess the thing that being a developer, you had to know certain things about how to develop these real estate projects, and appraising was a commercial appraising was a natural that would lead you to the tools necessary in order to achieve that goal. Residential appraising, I did that for a while. I didn't like it, with the banks and stuff. But it's the commercial things where you could develop, various projects and things that I was interested in, and we went from there.
So, do you think a lot of those same opportunities exist today?
Um, Let me tell you what's happening today. I get calls from a lot of my friends that I've helped, get them into appraising, and they have problems with how we say underwriters and things from the bank. They're making demands on them that is not realistic. One of the things that I did was a friend of mine. He says, "Look, this loan officer is saying this," and I said, "I don't see it in the marketplace." So what I did for him was I said, "Well, let's collect about 1,500 sales up there in that area, and let's run a statistical analysis on it and find out." Most of the time, after we do that one time and we lay it back on them, we don't hear from them anymore. You never heard from him. There was never any question. You gotta smash those type of requests with knowledge and efficiency, and you find that most of the time the stuff will go away. But the market is changing because like Gary had mentioned, artificial intelligence is going to change the appraisal business, and I'm using it myself to write descriptions of narratives of things, of cities and things, and it's to me it's wonderful. It just does a heck of a job. You still are going to need some type of person that's got a background in it. So what I think that I would rather be a part of the solution than the problem. And that's why I'm embracing artificial intelligence. I'm a math background person anyway, so it's a natural to me to do it like that.
That's interesting. That's interesting that you embrace the artificial intelligence in such a manner. And I know, George, you had want to chime back in and get another question in before I switch gears here. So let me bow out and get George get that question in there.
Yeah, I was just curious. Like I said, we're always looking to give a roadmap, if possible, to those that have, come before us. And I consider you definitely a trailblazer because of the fact that you've been doing this for so long. So, my question would be more so is how would you advise someone to get into the appraisal field? If they're out there looking at for a career as far as as opposed to just a job.
Uh, that's a tough question because the rules and things have changed quite a bit since I've got into it myself. Well, they didn't require a 4-year degree before. You have to have that now. And let me just tell you what it takes to become a certified journal. It takes 300 classroom hours of classes. It takes a 8-hour exam with about 200 math problems on it, and it takes about 3,000 hour appraisal experience. So a lot of time with the economic conditions are not necessarily prime for that, background to be able to get that type of background independently. But the main thing is the math, it's the degree in business, and having a knowledge about that, and you can still make it in there. But I have there's some real question marks hanging over the industry coming to the future. I asked a MAI, a friend of mine. He's a member of the Appraisal Institute. That's like a CPA, become like an accountant becoming a CPA, get certified. And the Appraisal Institute is out of Chicago. They're the organization that sponsors that and does that. And he says that the appraisers are going to be hard hit by lenders, and are not necessarily going to use appraisers that much because of artificial intelligence, because they can get their answers. And seeing what lenders do is that they don't need to actually, they have an underwriting range, like let's say the fair market value of a piece of property, and they'll say plus or minus 5%. They can anywhere in that range, plus or minus 5% of the fair market value. they're okay to lend with that, and they can do it. So these are the things that's coming out. What I think is I'm trying to say is it's going to be a different type of appraiser coming for the future. It's going to be a different type of appraiser that's coming, and he's going to have a different set of tools, and even what I've got today. They're going, in order to survive out here into the future. And if you want to become become a designated appraiser, it's 300 classroom hours. There's about 3,000 hours of experience credits. There's an 8-hour there's 16-hour test that you can take. And I tell you, those are heavy. There's only about, as far as black MAIs, probably maybe 8 or 9 of them in the United States. That's it. So it's a heck of a, and you find that we are not represented in this field. Is the math and things, and let me just tell you, I taught appraising. I taught income property appraising for 6 years at a real estate school, and my eyes were wide open. Because the problem that I had, I found out that a lot of people of color, their attention span wasn't such that could concentrate on these math problems. Now, a calculator is a calculator, and you know what a calculator looks like. 10, 20 keys on it. The Hewlett Packard HP 12 and the HP 10. When you add up all the keys on that thing, you probably got about 50 keys on it. So just to be able to do Gary, you got, yeah. Yep, that's the HP 12. That's what I learned on the silver one. But Gary, you know what I use now?
What's that?
I use the app.
Oh,
I use
dude.
the HP 12 app off the App Store, and
Okay.
it reproduces that calculator. It's the same exact thing as your calculator. It works the same. So I said, what the heck? I don't even have to buy any batteries for it. It's
That's
just
right.
with my phone.
I got one
But
on mine.
no, it's those are the things that you have to that I've noticed. And what I tried to do was to reading comprehension is very, very important with appraisal. Reading comprehension. Yep, there's another one. So the main thing, you've got to be able to read these problems and words in this. If you had algebra and you know how important story problems are, you got to be able to tell what the letters and the words say that tells you what to do with the story problem. And that's the same thing with appraising, is that you have to be able to key in on these variables to make sure that you understand what the heck is going on. But yeah, it's
That's
it's an interesting field, and it's always a challenge. I like challenges, and I like although my challenges, I don't like as many challenges as I used to. Main thing is just get the production out and move on from there.
right. A couple questions though. Obviously, number one, I agree with you wholeheartedly. My premise is that behind every number, there's a story, and you do an underwriting, especially with commercial real estate. But I want to go back to something you said, Bill, with regards to valuation and how you may see that having an impact on real versus artificial valuation. Right now, there's an a gulf between buyers and sellers right now, lenders and borrowers, between what's true valuation, what valuation methodology that's being used and accepted, which will determine whether or not a lender will continue to even loan on a property. Now, when you inject AI, artificial intelligence, and you have a bot that is gleaning information from other data sources or what have you, that's giving you a valuation, that right there seems like that could be a freight train at the end of the tunnel instead of a flashlight. Can you share with us about that? Because
Well,
you know,
it's just like lenders. I guess here's the question: as an investor wants to buy property, but they don't want to put in their own money into it. So
mhm,
therefore, they're hoping that the appraisal will come in at enough money to cover the cover of the value of the property plus the financing of it. And I
right,
had to stop doing that I was doing it. I found out what these guys were doing is that you got to do an as is appraisal and as complete. So that's two sets of comparable information that you needed. You needed sales that were the as is. Most of the time they were had not been rehabbed. They needed needed rehabilitation, and then as complete. That's after the repair work had been done. So you got two separate things, and hopefully they were hoping that the value as complete would cover the acquisition costs and the financing up front, so they didn't have to come out with any money out of their pocket. That time is changing. Is You're going to have to get pure hard cash of your own into some of these deals. Otherwise, you can't. You're not going to be able to do these. And nobody wants to put in their own money. They use other people's money, and that's what the sayings. Use somebody else's money to do this deal, and it's a better situation for them. But I tell you, the whole thing with analysis of jobs, I had to develop some software that would quickly give me the ability to put in all the parameters of a real estate transaction, and to be able to manipulate those parameters so that I can see that if we increase the rent by 10 cents or 15 cents a square foot, if we maybe if we decrease the fixed expenses by 5% and the variable expenses by 4%, what effect would that have on value? Now, that's a lot of calculations you have to do HP12 calculator. So what I did was I developed a software program that allows me to manipulate these variables, not in a how should I say it, in a straightforward, but in a circular pattern. I could come in at any position around the perimeter of the deal and insert my numbers, and I want to see what the changes is going to be. That lets me do what they call a parametric study of where the value is going to be, and it amazes me a lot of times to see just what really impacts the deal. What will change percentage wise. Maybe it's vacancy and bad debt that does it. Okay, or the mortgage underwriting piece of it. So the things that we do. We look at the interest rate. We look at the amortization in the years, the lender's loan to value ratio, the debt service coverage ratio, the equity rates that we have, and then we calculate the mortgage constants. We go from there. And most of this, the direct capitalization we use. Direct capitalization is what is used today. Mostly it's a value, right? It's value over it's the income over the value that gives us a cap rate, and that's what's used today. You don't end up with present value and things. You can't tell in the last 8, 9, 10 years. You can't tell what the value is going to be 5 days from now, instead of trying to project it out for 15 years. So you just do it's the direct net operating income now, and that's what the value of it is. But those are the things that are impacting the business, and you got to really be on top of knowing exactly how all these things fit together, and seeing what the market is going to do. Like I say, I wrote software that will I use it as a tool, and let me tell you show you how I use that. I use that software. People come to me all the time. I want to buy an apartment, and so where's it at? And they tell me where it is. I said, how much parking do you have? You got secure lighted parking. I said, because when you're buying a building, you're buying it for those little sweet little ladies that work midnights at the hospital, because they can't be parking their car and walking a half a block to get to their apartment at night down these dark streets. They got to be able to come into the lot, hit the button, come in, safe, in, out with no problem. So these are the things that I get a lot of calls from people overseas, over everywhere, England, all these other places, and they want me to tell me what the value of this thing is. First of all, you got to have somebody over here that goes into these buildings with me. I don't go into any of these buildings, these scary type of empty buildings in Detroit. All the time, somebody's going to go with me. I'm not going by myself, and
That's
and we
smart.
go from there. So I do a lot of income property in Detroit, but we also down in Breck Park, we did a ten unit condo for a developer out of Tennessee, and those were 10 million. The $10 million development, and they're 10 houses, 10 condos, 3,000 square feet each, basements, and an elevator. In these condos, and that area is very exclusive. Down in Brush Park, and the bank so far they haven't said no. For that they accepted the appraisals and everything. Myself and another person has done. So those are the things that we have to deal with, and we had to see it. But we've run across a lot of challenges. For a local city here, we did the public housing, all their multifamily public house, 10, 12-story office apartment buildings. We did that, and their consultant from another city came in, and all of a sudden he had not attacked me directly, but it was an indirect on questioning my methodology of doing the work, and I had to put him in the right place, knowledge wise, and show him my system works because HUD has accepted it before, and it works. We didn't have any problems after that. And we got another municipality here where we're doing all the multifamily property. And I mean, these are big 13-story high rises that we're doing. So we've done a lot of apartments, and Detroit's got a lot of apartments. One of the big problems that we've got here is that if I'm doing a restaurant, a brand new restaurant, say near the downtown area, beautiful building, what they've done to fix it up. But the problem is that we can't find any sales of these buildings because they all sold depressed. They bought these things depressed sales and do the rehab to turn that into a viable restaurant. And now we're trying to find some sales of these properties, and we can't find them because they're not there. The time hasn't turned around yet for these to turn over to become a viable sale. They will probably 3, 4, 5 years after that first sale is going to come up. So there's a lot of things that we have to do from that standpoint, and it's constantly. But I do industrial property, and it's all out in the
Sure.
suburbs, industrial buildings, 45,000, 55,000 square foot. Although we did a church in a suburb around Detroit here, we did a church that was 110,000 square feet. It was Kmart.
Just a quick.
110,000 square feet. I didn't know what was in that thing, but beautiful. They did a hell of a job on it. They did a
Yeah.
beautiful job on that church. But I've taken it
Bill,
to
let me
another
interject
level.
something real quick.
Yeah,
Bill, let me
yeah.
ask you a question real quick here. So for the audience in listening, now I know you covered about the all the intricacies of the different type of projects and things that you've done like that and things. And as we talked about valuation and how that's going to impact lenders and borrowers, well, this AI, as we continue on, I don't want to stay on AI too much longer, but there's so many facets to your business, man, that it seems like although you're not represented as much now in the total population of appraisers, do you see the appraisal business going away because of AI? Do you see those jobs dwindling, or are there any more opportunities?
It's going to be greatly impacted, probably in a negative sense, because I think that you know, from my experience on using preliminary AI stuff, uh, the information is almost instant. you get you get back that you put in about, let's say, an area, a suburban area. We used it on an office building just about 2 weeks ago, and I wanted to find out what was the demographics. I asked the chat box to give me the demographics of this particular city, and it did a heck of a job. A one page readout and printout on the demographics of this city. It's as good as anybody else is going to write it that you'll find. And my
Hey, Bill.
son, yeah,
So interesting, and that's kind of where I wanted to go with it. So with this AI, so it gave you the demographics. Now, can you also say, give me the comps in this area for this particular building? Will it actually
yes, there's a new program, a commercial AI program that's coming. I'm following it. It hasn't been released yet, but it will go through and get and grab the comps for that area, any sales. It looks at everything, sales. It looks at leases, looks at rents, everything, and it actually comes back and it actually does. It's a brand new product, and it's coming online, and it will do the whole appraisal for you to
So, so Bill, from your perspective, because I look at in the commercial business and I see, I go to a meeting and I see, gentlemen that have been in the business for years. I'm going to make the assumption that, from an appraisal perspective, it's the same type of situation that, most of the people that do appraisals have been in the business, have been around for a long time. So with this AI, does that open up the field for guys that are young in their 20s to get in now, because it's now easier to do an appraisal by using AI?
it. Remember, I told you when we first started, it's about your skill set. You've got to change, and you use these tools to your advantage. If you don't use these tools, you get down and get right into the meat, just into the meat of it. If you don't do that, then yes, you're going to end up in a situation that's going to be a negative thing. But you got to get in and become part of this new wave that's coming through. That's what I'm never on the outside. I'm always running in the pack, running towards that solution. That's what you've got to be. And what do you have to do to? There's a lot of appraisers I talk to now. They have no idea of what's coming. They have no idea of what's getting ready to come. But
So let me
you,
ask you. So let me ask you this then. So are you one of the advocates that are now saying to young entrepreneurs, young men that are coming out of college that have the aptitude to get into this business, because now it's opening up into an area that's never been available before? Do
yeah,
you see it that?
yeah. I think it is. It's a brand new territory, and pioneers. What when you're a pioneer, you break new ground. There's no precedence of what has been this way before, and you're part of a solution that you have to get in there and just get it done. But yeah, the tools and stuff. Somebody coming out of college now would probably have been already introduced to AI one way or another, or you have to use Udemy. Udemy is an online educational tools. You can take all types of. That's where I'm taking my AI
This,
my AI courses.
yeah,
Udemy and
this is really
yeah,
fascinating, because I didn't think this conversation was going to go this way, because now it looks like that appraising is a great opportunity for those that are looking for a career, because one of the things that I always looked as preventing especially black folks from getting into appraisals is the fact that you've got to do so many hours as an apprentice, and obviously and those hours are unpaid. So as a young man trying to get into this business, but it seems like with AI, you kind of just cut through that, and I mean that's fantastic. I really like that approach, and hopefully our listeners out there are getting the same thing from it. That this is something that they really need to look into. Hey, I'm gonna
this.
we've talked for a minute. I'm gonna give you a chance to talk. I just want to see one interesting thing, because looking at your resume again, and I saw the thing about the organ. So let me ask you this: what is the most interesting thing that you have appraised?
That 5,000 pipe organ, church church pipe. That was the most interesting appraisal. It took me about 6 months to do that too. Um, there's no way to appraise a pipe organ. We have certain methodologies that we use. The income approach is what a property, what is whatever an entity can produce, how much income it can produce. You have the sales comparison approach. It's based upon what they sold in comparison to what other properties on the market sold for. And then you have the cost approach. That pipe organ doesn't fit any of those categories. You can't find the pipe organ is an integral part of the sanctuary in the church. Physical is built into the sanctuary in the church. So that means that your walls, your floor, ceilings and stuff got to be of certain materials, because that organ, the church that I appraise here, it has 5,000 pipes in it, and I appraised it for $2.5 million. So we're not talking about no
Wow. Yeah.
inexpensive things.
That's
It's $2.5 million.
yeah. That's pretty
Now,
good, man. That's
now,
really that's really fantastic.
what I
Let
had
me
to
ask you
do,
this.
yeah,
Let me ask you this. So if somebody wanted to, get in touch with you, if do you have a website, or if they wanted to continue the conversation because you've now, turned the light bulb on from, how would they get in touch with you?
my website is being redesigned right now, so I'm offline. You can reach me. Can I give the number?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, you can reach me at 313-595-7802.
You want to repeat that?
313-595-7802.
Wow.
Let me give you my
Well,
email. You want my email?
sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
My email is ASSETBALUATIONS at iCloud.com.
Great.
I
Hey, Bill,
iCloud.com. Yep.
I wanna personally say that it's been really really great having you on. I mean, you're just a plethora of information, and you've kind of taken us, from one side of the conversation to the other. I mean, starting back in '88 and talking about the industry, and now taking it up to today, and hopefully our listeners will see the opportunity and now in appraising. So, with that said, like I said, thanks for coming on. I mean, it's been a great interview. And Smitty, what you got to kind of add to all of that?
All right. Well, here we go with a quote for the week. You will never put together a deal with someone who is not motivated to get the deal done.
So,
I'll repeat. Oh, do I need to repeat it?
sure, Smitty, go ahead and repeat it.
You will never put together a deal with anyone who is not motivated to make the deal work. All right.
There you go.
There you go.
We know, like we always say, if you
You
didn't
don't
know,
know? Now you know.
now you know. Take care.
Next time.
Next time. Be safe.
This is Dr. Paul Clemens with the Crotchety Old Men Podcast. If you're interested in financial tools to build wealth, and you're interested in ways to maximize your health through holistic alternatives, then you are just the audience that we're looking for. Tune in each week, every Thursday, to the Crotchety Old Men Podcast, where George Crumley, Gary Smith, and I offer you in-depth discussions on health and wealth. Subscribe to the Crotchety Old Men Podcast on Google, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your favorite podcast.